Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to PonyTonite. This is the show where a bunch of friends get together and talk random topics of discussion with your favorite brony personalities for your amusement every single Friday night, 10:30 p.m. EST. My name is Sheldog, and I'm joined by many regular hosts that we have on, Corpulent Brony, Meliminus, and returning the Burning Donut from his debacle or whatever. Good to have you back.
Yay.
So tonight our guest is Flutterpriest, a Writefag. If you don't know what a Writefag is, this is somebody who goes on 4chan, or as I like to call it, 4chains, and they write stories, usually with a bunch of other people in a thread, and they in a green text format. I'm not going to explain all this. If you want to find out, you just go to 4chan /MLP, the my little pony board, and you can read some of them. No, they're excellent. A lot of great stories come from that place, and I think people avoid it because there's a stigma with 4chan.
Shooters come from.
Well, yeah, too.
Too soon, man. Too soon.
There's honestly this ridiculous stigma with it, and I think you're missing out on a lot of fandom content by not going to 4chan. But anyways, Flutterpriest, he is a Writefag. He's known for his Anon and Equestria stories. He also writes stories on fanfiction, and he does other stuff that I'm not aware of because I haven't actually read any of your stories. I'm sorry. I feel awful.
You can't read.
I've been reading.
I can't. It's true.
He's doing this one right now. I believe this is him. You're the one doing the BDSM one, right? With Celestia and Anon?
Yes, that is her most faithful servant.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. It's adorable is a way to describe it. That's a way to describe it. I don't know if it's how I'd describe it. I would describe it as
being sarcastic.
Womp womp.
So to get started here, man, I want you to tell me about, how you got into the brony fandom, and how you got into writing, just kind of in general.
All right, that's two separate stories. I'll start with how I got into the fandom. Because how I got into the fandom was a little silly. I was working at Target at the time, and there was this girl that I was crushing on that I was working with.
Was she hot?
Oh yeah. Easily just so good. Anyway, she was nerdy, and I was thinking one day, like, we were talking about old cartoons and stuff, and the topic of Lauren Faust came up. Okay. And she's like, "Oh, have you? Lauren Faust is doing this new show, My Little Pony." And I was sitting there at the time, just like, this is ridiculous. Why would I watch
like,
this?
are you?
No. You
Kidding?
don't understand. Like, bronies, they're a thing, and I'm like, okay. Am I seriously gonna go home and watch the entire first season to try and impress this girl? Well, I'm that kind of guy, and I did, and the show was great.
So about
amazing.
like what season was it? Like the first season you watched, or was it like actually just finishing the first season?
It was the first season, and Over a Barrel just came out, the Buffalo episode.
Oh, so it actually is pretty early in the timeline then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did it work though? Did you actually get to hook up with her?
Oh no, it wasn't meant to be.
Oh. You're too nice.
Don't worry, the beta uprising will happen soon.
Well, he had to give her a ride to pick up her boyfriend. It's just like, geez.
Go ahead.
So basically, what you're telling me is that you got into My Little Pony because you tried to impress a girl, and then she rejected you. That's beautiful. I tell you, we've heard many stories on this show about how people got in the fandom, and they're all basically what you think they are. Somebody told me to watch it, and I watched it, and I loved it. But this is special. I really loved it. Very unique. Okay, so you get into the fandom, or you start watching the show. Now, where does 4chan come into play here? Now, was this before? This was before the /MLP board was around. Am I right?
Yeah, right when I first got into the show, the /MLP board wasn't around, and if I wanted pwn-related content, I'd have to go to B. But honestly, I didn't really go to 4chan back around then. I honestly didn't even start going to 4chan until about 2013. I think it's after season 3, after Twilightborn happened.
Oh wow.
So a lot of time had passed. What were you doing before that in that space then, in the fandom?
Just kind of more consuming. I was really into like the music. I really liked Fuzogs. I really liked Eurobeat. I listened to Mike the Microphone do narrations.
Nice.
And I avidly just ate up Fluttershy Big Mac story. Just the sappy and cheesier they were, the better. And it didn't matter how well they were written. I just needed my fix.
Right.
And that just kind of fell off. What ended up happening, I was in a really dark place at one point, and kind of made a really bad mistake. And so by a series of events, I found myself in the hospital and not really having anywhere to go on the internet.
Oh man, you tried to kill yourself?
That's right.
Oh my god.
Oh.
So I was in the hospital. I didn't really have anywhere to like go anymore, like because like memories and people I didn't want to associate with anymore. So I went to /MLP,
Right.
And I knew I could be anonymous there. No one would know who I was, and I could consume content that way for my favorite show.
Wow. So, where did this writing thing come into play? Because like, I'm not a writer. And I just think about like the concept of writing characters and creating a setting and a story, and it fucking baffles me. Okay, it's so difficult to me. It's something that I just cannot grasp. Now, did you have writing experience before this? Before this fandom, perhaps? Maybe you were into writing?
Not at all.
That's incredible.
Hated everything related to English. School just like ruined books for me. The one when I was young, I read through the Harry Potter series and I just ate it up. At one point, I like picked up Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card, and I just ate that book. A lot of sci-fi, some mystery stuff. But when I got into like school, they started force feeding me things like Brave New World, which I love now. But when you're going through school and they're hyper analyzing it and they're force feeding it down your throat, it just made me hate books. It made me hate writing. It made me hate reading. Getting out of that and starting to do it for fun again and going to /MLP, where there's so many writing boards. There's AIE, there's the Equestria girls stories, and then where I call home, FR, or more elaborately FlutterRape. Where there's just so many Fluttershy stories just to eat up. And I was looking over all this, and eventually I hit a point where I was like, hey, I want to try doing this myself. I think I could make a good story, and I think people would like it.
And then you did it. And
no, I did not. When I first started out, I was absolute trash. Absolute trash. I wrote a story, and you can just like imagine this as Cinema Sins with a little ding in the counter, just like all the things I'm doing wrong here. The story was titled "Remember Me." It opened up edgy with the main character like bleeding on the floor. Randomly Celestia comes in and provides like dialogue, and it turns out to be a dream, and the main character has amnesia.
Oh, no.
Like, it was convoluted and ridiculous.
Wait. You mean to say that there's a fan fiction that has bad writing? you fail, sir. Shut up.
I like how you said. I like how you mentioned amnesia and like it's all a dream. Like all these perfect excuses to not have this solid kind of continuity foundation to your story. You're just like, fuck it, fuck this. This is hard. I'm gonna use these. This is so much better. That's awesome. Okay.
But needless to say, I didn't continue that story. I ended up starting smaller, like doing little, like one-shots, small, isolated things. And in our little thread, the whole idea is you got to write a little story where, there's Anon, your human character, and it's all written in second person, so that way the reader gets immersed in it. Then the idea is that you have Fluttershy, who's normally a shy, quiet pony that tries not to get around anyone.
But she rapes Anon.
She's gonna try to work up the courage to hit on Anon and try to learn what his fetish is. And if you can just imagine this shy pony that doesn't even know like how to approach someone and be like, do you want to go on a date, trying to figure out what sexually interests Anon, it gets crazy pretty fast.
Yeah, definitely.
So, if you were ever found yourself in Equestria and you turned green and Fluttershy was trying to hop on your bones,
you literally transformed into an Anon.
what would you do?
What would I do? If
Would you let her
Fluttershy
have
was-
her way with you, or
You know, being a Flutterfag, I think I would. You know, just like, hey.
and what if she whipped out her big Fudacock?
You mean like Twilight?
Hey, now we've entered a different realm. Now this is even more exciting.
You have the same response Corp did when we told him about Twycock.
He was like, oh my.
Hey, Flutterpriest, have you ever talked to Slazors?
Slazors. I've never heard of Slazors.
Really? Never?
No.
I don't read a lot of green tech stories, man. But like,
Oh,
there's
Slazors,
this dude
yeah.
named Slazors, and he wrote these awesome Twilight Velvet stories.
Really?
They're fucking great. You can find them in a pastebin.
You know,
You search Slazors. Awesome.
correct me if I'm wrong, but 4chan, I was always told, is supposed to be anonymous. Isn't having anyone known for anything on 4chan kind of...
Well, it depends. Like
defeated?
if you're no, because if you're in threads and you're actively producing content, you need a way for people to recognize that it's you and your content, which
But
is why
isn't
you would
that
trip
the
them.
opposite
right?
of what you would want?
It's
No.
kind of it's a toss up because when you're just a poster and you're trying to talk in a threads, there's really isn't a whole lot of reason to put on a name. Ultimately, putting on a name in /MLP is optional. But when you start producing content and people want to always have an idea of who you are, if they want to filter you out and always ignore your content or explicitly look for your content, you want to put a name to it or a strip code to it so that they can always look to you. And that way also someone doesn't start taking your material out from under you and taking your credibility.
So when you're on 4chan, is there like ever anyone who responds like, "Oh my God, he's writing today. I gotta read this thread."
Oh God. Is it bad if I say yes? Like that does happen sometimes.
I mean, I have no idea. I don't go to the 4chan pony boards very much. I mean, I have been known to 4chan occasionally, but like, I don't go like everywhere. So like I have to admit, it's kind of a scary place.
Oh,
I
it's not
don't
that
really
scary.
blame you.
If you don't have enough social problems, they consider you a normie over there. So
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh God, no.
I'd say most of the time, at least for me, because I've been called out more than once for being a massive attention whore, and they're not necessarily entirely wrong. But I'd say most of the time people come out for being like, "Oh, good, you did a thing, pat on the head," or people are like, "You're shit. When are you gonna do this? Like, when are you gonna continue this story?" Like, I guess I'm infamously known for I have a story I've been working on for 2 years now called Office Love that I never update, and everyone just messages me like, "When the hell are you going to continue Office Love?" And it just happens all the time, and it's so tiring.
Nice.
do you put it on like film fiction or anything, or
Yes.
Wattpad, or
I put stuff on Pastebin, and I put stuff on FimFiction.
I'm gonna read you guys a comment that I found earlier today, and I wasn't aware that Flutterpriest was coming on because I have a horrible memory because I did too many drugs and I
Good
fucking
job.
forgot. But so in the /MLP room, somebody links this fucking 4chan thread, right? And it's FlutterRape. And I'm gonna read you guys this comment very quickly. Quote, Flutterpriest softly shilling for a Patreon audience. This guy, now, people are, I fucking hate a lot of this fandom, but listen to how asinine and stupid this comment is. And I'll get into why I'm talking about this in a minute. But he says, fucking really? I used to respect you a lot more. I'm not putting on a trip, but trust me, when people who aren't 15 years old notice that you're going for the whole horse famous bullshit with the podcast and posting your face, now Patreon, really, man, what the fuck happened to you? Really, it almost makes me sad. Do you really think it's a big deal getting followers on fanfiction.net where most of them are just going to be dead accounts in a few months? Stop these shenanigans and just get back to writing good horse words and the fame will follow. Stop getting so caught up with it all. You complain about the state of AIE when the above is the exact trap that wound up ensnaring other promising authors just to get them burned out of their own 15 seconds of fame and then quit because my negative fan base. I remember when you changed adopting FlutterRape to adopting Fluttershy because of fan pressure. Seriously, Flutterpriest? You don't know me. But it makes me sad to see how much you've shilled for yourself the last few months. It's disappointing, and I'd love to see nothing more than you to revert back to just a writer with the handle of Flutterpriest. That is, than this state of being. Think about it. You don't even need to respond, but just think about it. No, I'm not aware if you respond or if you even seen this comment.
Welcome to my drama for today, actually. Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome to everything I was dealing with before this podcast.
Coincidence.
So that comment's interesting, and I'm not going to address every part of it, but I do think one of the big things that they were addressing there is that I mentioned in a blog a while back that I've been thinking about starting a Patreon, and I looked at a lot of the different accounts on FimFiction, and I noticed an alarming number that are creating Patreons. I mean, I haven't checked lately, but I think Penstroke has a Patreon. But I mean, that kind of makes sense. He's one of the I think he's #1 writer on FimFiction in order of followers. But I mean, you go around, you look at a bunch of people. There's people all over the board that have the Patreons with low to no followers, extremely high followers, medium followers. Everyone is creating a Patreon. I'm sitting here thinking, is this something that needs to exist? And I sat there and I thought about it. I created a feeler blog being hey, what would you guys think if I did this? And I wasn't really looking to be if everyone says, yes, we'll do this, or we'll pay you money, I'd be oh, okay, let's do it. No, the idea was just to get an idea of what everyone thought about this. And obviously the big Patreon hack just happened. But I decided, and I hadn't vocalized it through a tweet or a blog or anything, that I'm not going to get a Patreon. And I decided not to do this because writing stories is something that I love to do. It's something I do in my free time. It's something that I enjoy sharing with people because it's a little piece of myself in a lot of ways. And to all of a sudden start expecting money to do that, expecting money to do things that I love, it becomes a part-time job. And it starts sucking the fun out of it. And I don't want this stuff to ever stop being fun for me. And I couldn't expect anyone to randomly be here, take my money, because that just makes me feel uncomfortable. I just want to be a writer. I want to go out and make friends. I want to go join chats. I want to meet awesome people. I've probably met most of you except Court for the first time tonight. I think you're all great dudes. I just want to make friends. That's all I'm out here to do. The goal is not to get horse famous.
Well, right. I gotta say, you're incredibly different. When I heard, this guy writes fanfics and green text things, I was oh great, it's gonna be some really hi guys, my name is Flutterpriest. And seriously, I hear you talk, it's wow, this guy actually sounds like a normal dude. That's crazy.
You know what's funny about that? We've never had anyone like that on this show.
I know.
Surprisingly, in the most the most autistic fandom on the internet, we have not found one of those people yet that have been a guest. So that's very interesting. Now, regarding this comment, like I was saying earlier, I read this earlier on today. It was just before I went to work in the /MLP room. And I'm thinking, I'm reading this fucking comment. And this person is so fucking asinine and retarded and knows nothing about Patreon, clearly. Because how you create your Patreon depends on basically what... Okay, so somebody can make a Patreon and then create paywalls through their Patreon, right? Or other people can make a Patreon and market it as a tip jar, right? It's kind of, that's the point, right? It's supposed to be like a tip jar. And this guy's like assuming that, because Flutterpriest is going to have a Patreon, it's going to be this horrible thing. He's going to be wanting money for his work. He's going to be expecting money. Maybe there'll be paywalls. Maybe there'll be these things that are restricting us content or us fans who want to read his content. And there's no indication of this that I can see anywhere, which is really dumb. So that's strike number one. Strike number two is he's assuming that, you know, just because you're gaining followers or whatever, that you're going to suddenly change everything you do. And there's no denying that once you gain followers, you do change a little bit what you do. We did on this show. We used to be called the Podcast, and we stopped with that fucking name because we were getting denied from guests because they don't like our name. We didn't change the format of the show. We didn't change our content. We just changed our fucking name. That's not a big deal.
Actually,
it doesn't matter.
That goes exactly with the name change of one of my stories. That exactly he mentioned. I had a story called Adopting FlutterRape, and I threw it on FimFiction. If I tell you what the story premise is and you don't imagine the name, then you would never ever guess that I would call it Adopting FlutterRape. It's a story about an Anon that goes to an orphanage and adopts a Philly Fluttershy.
Oh God!
That because he decides that his life is empty and he wants to learn the experience of being a father. It just happens that the Philly is really lewd and is doing really subtle sexual things, but there isn't any actual sex or things in the story. About as sexual as it gets is he begins to talk to her about the birds and the bees. There isn't any actual sex. But I named this thing Adopting FlutterRape because FlutterRape is where I'm from. In comes the massive horde of FimFiction haters that this thing got featured on front page, and people are like, how dare you rape a Philly? It's like, oh crap, now I see it. So I changed the name because everyone got super upset, and I've caught flack for it ever since.
What they wanted, of course.
Well, that story, were you trying to pull like a Rob Cakerin?
Oh? I don't understand.
My Little Dashy thing.
No.
He's the guy who, yeah.
Is this a slightly kinkier My Little Dashy?
No. Actually, it's more focusing. The story's misleading, and looking back, I want to change that a little bit. The story actually focuses more around the struggles as a dad that Anon faces, like him looking introverted into himself, being like, "Am I a good father? Am I a good father? Should I do this? Should I do that? Am I too involved? Am I being a cool dad?" Like those types of things that real fathers face every day, trying to figure out what they're doing. And I'm writing the finale to that right now, and the entire story is taking a massive left turn when it appears that someone who's been pretty much like a background character the whole story might have actually been stalking him and breaking into his home.
Well, I mean, I would too. Shit, he's got a magical talking fucking techno-colored pony.
Dude, does Fluttershy rape anyone at the end?
No.
Oh.
She's pretty innocent. She's just like, I have these feelings and I don't know what they're about.
See, your original title doesn't make a lot of sense, but you contextualized it for us in the call here. But if I were somebody reading it right on FimFiction, I'd be like, I don't fucking get it.
If
like,
I read that title,
and you're fucking smart enough to see that and to change it and to be like, oh, okay, this actually kind of doesn't make sense. I'm going to change it.
Right.
But people don't have that perspective of the content creator and your reasoning. So they just assume you're selling out because you're fucking horse famous. What the fuck? You fucking idiots. this is why all your fans suck, and you should hate them because they don't know anything. They know nothing.
Yeah, it's clearly
So
only your
not
fans.
reflecting
No
views
one
of
else.
Flutterpriest.
Okay, we have 0 viewers now.
Anyway.
No, just kidding. Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll move on from that. I thought that was interesting though, because I was sitting here while you guys were talking, and I'm like, is this the same fucking guy that these people were talking about? I had to go check it out. It was.
Yeah.
So, funny.
So you were you dressed up as Anon at BronyCon, right?
I did. I was
Yeah.
all over BronyCon. I went to Quills and
babe.
Sofas. I was in a bunch of pictures. Danced at the Grand Galloping Gala. I'm actually in a few videos of being on stage. But yeah, I was all over BronyCon.
Did you participate in any orgies at BronyCon?
The magical BronyCon orgy. I think I had to plead the fifth on that one.
Well, there was a.
Was at least
Go ahead.
one.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
one. It was pretty shit. It was a bunch of
Well-
overweight to semi-overweight people. They kicked out probably the hottest one that was going to be in there, which was Minty Root.
That sounds like an orgy at about any geeky themed convention.
No, there's some
That's
good
true.
furry con orgies because there are some
Okay,
good.
I
furry-
Okay. You know what?
I didn't
I've
know
been
this
to
was a thing.
tons. I've been to tons of furry conventions. I have never once seen an orgy, sir.
That's
They're fur
because
piles.
the fucking con Nazis try to hide them.
I guess.
Like at AnthroCon, fucking
There was also a
God.
staff BronyCon orgy at BronyCon 2012.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's for
Confirm that for us.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes.
yeah, like Purple Tinker.
I was trying to take a drink there. God damn.
Yeah, they also had an outbreak of crabs as well from it.
Well, yeah, when you go to Baltimore.
Why?
Toast. The crabs taste great.
Yeah, when you go to Baltimore, you
Yeah.
got to get crabs. So.
Crab is the only acceptable seafood. For sure.
Well, if anyone in the chat has any questions for our guest, feel free to put them in the
Yeah.
chat, and I'll write them down, and we'll get to them shortly.
I
Guys,
have a
yeah,
question.
guys, ask Flutterpriest some questions. Come on. Anything
I
you want.
have a question. Do you
Oh,
feel like
since-
people on fanfiction like don't take you as seriously because you're a 4chainer?
No, I wouldn't say because it's 4chan. I would say there is a big stigma on fanfiction for Anon and Equestria stories. People hate
Yeah.
characters with the name Anon. They feel that it's unoriginal, it's too internet memey. If it breaks their immersion, they say you could literally use any other name other than Anon and it would make it a better story. I don't necessarily 100% agree with them, but I kind of see
Yeah.
the point.
It's supposed to be
I-
more immersive though, because you can literally
Yeah, because
envision
Anon
yourself.
is you. That's Anon.
As long
Anon
as
is
you're
anyone you
a
want to,
male.
right? If you put
Yeah.
down Joey, it's like you think of a character, somebody you know who is Joey,
Yeah,
right?
from
But if you put
Foster.
down Anon and you're not an autistic idiot, you think of yourself. It could be you or anybody.
No, honestly, I think of
I
some-
don't think of myself.
Yeah, I think of some stereotypical 4chan like Anon guy. Actually, I don't think of myself.
So,
Or you think of. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead. I'm interested. This is a really interesting
or-
topic, and I could talk about this forever. So please go on.
Or when you say Anon, you literally think of the character created of Anon, the
Yeah.
green skinned dude. You think of him, and that's a character that everyone knows. That's a guy. That's a personality, man. Everyone knows who that is, right? And that's kind of interesting.
So
that you can do.
technically, the story. I don't know if you guys know the blog, Horsewife.
Yes.
But Horsewife's husband is actually pretty much like an Anon, right? He has
Yeah, he
very
goes by the name of-
minimalistic features. I don't think he actually has a name, but he's just not called Anon.
He goes by the name of Richard on there.
Oh,
And
yeah, Richard.
I really like Horsewife, and I really like Richard's character because of that. He's very minimalistic. He has some character traits, but mostly he's there just to play off of the Horsewife, the main character, and that's really kind of what Anon is meant to do there in the Anon and Equestria stories. It's meant that, you know, the characters, especially if you're Anon, if the second person puts the reader as Anon, it's made so that the ponies are supposed to interact off of you and give you an interactive experience with the horses. So
Right.
I don't think you'd get quite the same experience. I mean, you can. There's marvelous second-person writers out there. I'm not even going to say that I'm a particularly great one, although some people would hate me for saying that. I'd say that if you make the name Arnold instead of like Anon, you might not get as much out of it.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I'll tell you what I would think if you made the name Arnold. It'd be like, Fluttershy, you're so beautiful. Nyah!
Right, like I think of like Hey Arnold or fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know,
Arnold
like
Equestria.
that to me seems a little bit more immersion breaking.
Come
Right?
to me, my little pony.
Especially if the writer has not developed Arnold at all, and he's just there.
Can we do
and it's like,
Christopher?
Arnold?
Can you please do Christopher Walken in Equestria?
I
Hello,
believe I
my
actually
little
have-
ponies.
Oh,
yeah.
Man, ponies.
Oh, Jesus.
So adorable. I want a pet. Your pretty faces. So cute.
Oh, Jesus.
Sorry.
Oh, God. No, that was fantastic. The other thing that I've seen is interesting with second person. I've actually seen quite a few stories pull this off really well, never using a name at all. Not Anon,
Oh, yeah.
not Arnold, not Richard or anything. Just they never give the main character that you are a name. And
That's a
I think
true
that's
second
pretty
person.
interesting. I've tried to experience with that a few times, or I tried to experiment with that a few times, but
It's like
it's
true second person.
yeah, it's hit and miss.
We got some questions. Does anybody else have anything?
Yeah,
else?
go ahead. Yeah, let's do some questions.
Okay. X Griffins wants to know, what do you not like about the Brony fandom?
Oh, that's a good question.
What do I not like about the Brony fandom?
Clop.
I actually no. I think the Clop's okay. It would be a little hypocritical for me to say that Clop is bad because I've written quite a lot. I would say I hate how toxic we can be sometimes.
Well, you are on 4chan. I mean, wow.
Right. But I also get a reputation on 4chan for being quite the hug box. I never say anything mean about anyone almost ever. I'd say that there's a lot of times we come out and just blatantly attack people to attack people. And for a fan base that started with the catchphrase "love and tolerate," sometimes we can get really, really mean towards each other. And don't get me wrong, sometimes someone does something that's really actually out of line, and it's not okay. But it doesn't necessarily mean we should always get in everyone's business all the time for doing something little that's wrong.
That's cool. Yeah. Vinny Brownie wants to know, Office Love when?
God damn you, Vinny. Vinny's a friend from FR. I'll ask him this. Okay, Vinny. When are you gonna continue your own adventure story?
Shit! Burn!
Watch Fred.
Office Love is my longtime story that I've written for over 2 years now. It's at 50,000 words.
Oh my, that's a novel, motherfucker.
It is, and I've probably got about 50,000 more words to write. And the people that usually read my stuff consider it a massive favorite. Usually, the story has Anon, Fluttershy, and like 3 OCs, and it just focuses around Anon moves to Manhattan and shit happens. It's total slice of life. I don't really have anything else to say there without there being massive spoilers. So go read that story. It's long.
Cool. Nelson Demifer wants to know, what is the best/worst story you've seen on FimFiction, and which do you recommend someone read that isn't your own work?
best/worst story I've ever seen on FimFiction. I can tell you what some of my favorites are. One of my favorite Klopp stories, we're just gonna go straight to Klopp. Here we go. Max Breezy wrote a story called "Milking the Milkmare" that is about Milky Way, written in second person. What is it? It uses second person, and if I'm correct, it never refers the main character by name in the 60,000 words that it is. I think it's 30. It's long, and it's really, really good. It's really good. I really like that one. I learned about that one through one of like Wooten's narrations, and I haven't had the chance to like meet Max and be like, hey, I like your story, but it's really good. That's usually one of the ones I suggest for people that are just starting in FimFiction and want like a mature story. As for like clean stories that I really like, it'd be hard for me to not say Eighth Sin, who is usually a AIE writer on 4chan, but he also uploads stuff on FimFiction. He has Philly Nightmare Moon shorts, or as we more casually call it, Mooney, and they are just so adorable. It is unreal. He has just a knack for writing just the cutest ponies aren't for sexual stuff.
So wait. Is it like a Philly Nightmare Moon, or is it like just Luna and it's just called Nightmare Moon?
It is a Philly Nightmare Moon, and like she will run around the house going, victory will be mine, or hail before me. Hail before me and terror, and it's she's like, she carries around her little teddy bear and goes like, me and Mr. I forget the name of the bear. I think it's Sir Barrington. Sir Barrington, I will take over this world, and she's actually in like a little pillow for it. It's just nice, so adorable.
I'm sorry.
Worst story. There is a I don't want to refer to it by name. There is a Spitfire story I started reading. It's about Spitfire and a young cult. It was very poorly written. It was very edgy. I was not a fan of it, and I couldn't tell you what it is if I tried. I tried to kind of block it out of my memory. It was just so poorly written. It didn't even seem like it was done by a troll. I wanted to leave a big long critique and review, and then I realized it might have been too mean, and so I just deleted it and walked away. So that's my FimFiction experience.
Let's see.
Just saying, there is one that I've read, because I'm not afraid to say names. It's actually extremely popular. It's called Brushed Away or something like that. It's like a Griffin X like pony, and I can see the appeal for it. But just some of the language, like he's going back and he's rewriting it, but it's just like the story itself is good, but the way that he tells it is bad. Just the word choices that he uses, it's very elementary.
Can I also make a recommendation? If anyone is ever, perusing FimFiction and they come across a story called Rainbow's Problem by Swift Monkey, stay the fuck away.
Wait, why? I don't understand.
Because it's
tell Swift you said that. Swift and I are really good.
It's subtitled Krusty Cunt Flakes.
Oh God!
I
think I know that story.
Yes, we've read it.
God.
I've read it.
I read
it.
That story made me nauseous.
No.
That story is
seriously.
so good, though.
No.
I remember him originally posting that, and he came to me. He goes, "Dude, go check the thread." And I'm like, "Oh, why?" And I got done reading it, and I just said, "How could you? Why would you do this? Why would you do this?"
I have a fic to recommend too. You can't find it on FimFiction, but if you just Google lunch, Raging Semi,
Yes, we
that is
did
an
one,
excellent, funny, entertaining, a completely absurd Klopp fic.
On
I think
Spike's Wet Dream by Ju the Skunk.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Okay. Anyway,
All
Laura
right,
Allen.
I'll suggest one more.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you ever have a story, and you run it by a non-pencil called Hole in One, don't question it, just read it. It will change your life.
Hole in one.
It's a chrysalis story. It's really good.
Oh God.
I can already. I can already see where this might be going.
Okay.
Oh,
Laura
Run and hide, children.
Laura Allen wants to know, Priest, can you tell us about your waifu and why she's so shit?
I'm assuming your waifu is Twilight then.
No, fuck you.
Oh God. Actually, my waifu is Cadence. I started as Flutterpriest when Fluttershy was my favorite course, and just as I started writing a story of mine that's on Pastebin but not fanfiction called Parents Night Out, I just became enamored with Cadence's character. Writing a story actually changed my opinion of a character, and now she's my waifu. She's terrible. She's the worst horse. She does absolutely nothing in the entire show. She's great, and I love her. It's wonderful.
Yeah, man, Cadence is like shit, but man, her visual aesthetic is like fucking gorgeous. It's excellent.
Has anyone have you guys seen the last Equestria Girls movie?
Mhm.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
God,
Like-
Cadence.
Yeah.
Cadence,
Ugly.
Man. Yeah, she was
No, she looks better than she did in the preview.
She
the
actually
preview-
looks better than the other two princesses. I was like, wait, how did that work?
Yeah, I think Luna though
Yes.
is the best looking to me though.
Yeah.
Of the
Since I
princess.
saw all the crystals on the outside of the High Academy, I was like, God damn it! There's gonna be Cadence in this movie. They're gonna ruin her.
You know,
Spoilers,
you know what I
by the
loved
way.
about it though? I loved how she was kind of Twilight's mentor in a way.
Yeah,
Oh,
she
yeah.
was.
I really like how they framed
Except
that.
for
Yeah,
the
it was-
scene
that
where
was
she
good.
completely ignores Twilight, but
Oh, of course.
Yeah, well.
or
yeah.
doesn't notice
Welcome
that
to My
they're
Little Pony.
singing about blackmailing her in the middle of the.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
right in the middle of the
Well,
thing.
well,
Yeah.
maybe they're being blackmailed too, you know.
No, Faith, don't you know? Time freezes for everyone else when songs happen. That's how this works.
That was probably one of the best songs in the movie. I'm kind of mad about
It was
it. Let's
good.
go on.
Yeah.
Let's talk about EQG3. So if you haven't seen it, turn off the podcast.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking great. By the way,
It
I
was
loved it.
so good. Like I loved Twilight singing the entire time.
What are you on?
Oh my
I
God!
have to
Yes.
disagree with you completely. The entire movie itself was so subpar.
Yes, it was
compared
shit.
to the other two.
And you know why it was shit? It was shit because there was only 20 frames of ponies in it.
Yeah, I mean, I
Well,
definitely.
We needed more pony.
This
Or
was
spread out all
definitely not a
much.
pony movie. I'll agree with you there.
It's not supposed to be, but
It-
storyline
it's
is
funny.
terrible shit.
It's funny because it teases you into thinking that that the ponies might get involved, but they never do.
Yeah, the worst part about the movie is how it wraps up in the
Oh yeah, the wrapping
the
up.
very
is-
last bit. Like they build up all this shit, and it gets exciting, man. I'm like, fuck, what's gonna happen with this time travel, this fucking portal device, and what's gonna happen, with Sunset and Sci-Twi here, like what's going on? And then they just do this transformation thing, and I'm just like, oh, okay.
And that could have been great too. That could have been a great battle. But the thing is, the
yeah,
battle
it wasn't
always
fleshed
lasts
out.
5 seconds.
Short, yeah, and it was.
He has had one
And then-
battle.
And then the resolution, man,
Yeah.
when everyone comes to terms with it, it's so quick, and it's just like bam, everyone's just so accepting of everything. That's another thing. The fucking, you know what I'm not gonna get into it. I'm not gonna,
No,
It's like no, I'm done. God damn it, I'm done.
I don't even.
There's
It
a lot of
also
time to spend on
ruined
a
the
shit
time-
movie.
It ruined the
Yeah,
timeline as well, and just the lore of the world. Because they're like, okay,
We
so
can-
now everyone knows
Hold
about.
on. I'm gonna interrupt you. We can talk about this after the show, but let's keep doing audience questions. Yeah, let's keep it going.
Well, we got some good ones coming up here.
Sorry,
Yeah.
guys.
Boy.
Garthriel Murdoch wants to know, what do you find is the most difficult part of writing?
Oh, the most difficult part of writing so for me, that would be time. Definitely that is my issue. I am so busy. I try to set aside 1 hour every day to just write, and when I get that hour and I sit down and I got my coffee and I got my music going, I just go. Usually when I have like a new story idea, I like to write either one of two ways. I either just have the whole idea right up front and from beginning to end in my head and I just do it, or I start writing it and I just let wherever the wind take me. And usually that's the easiest way to like write yourself into a corner. So at some point I try to find like, okay, this is how I want to end it, and I just go there. But by far the hardest thing for me to do is find time to write. Just like I'm coming off of like an 80-hour week at work right now, and it was just so hard to even just like get home and then just like go to bed and get up the next day, go to work, come home, get to bed. Just I want to write more, but I just can't.
Cool. Mr. Fozzie HD wants to know, he would have asked the question of whether or not you'd fuck a horse, but he's going to ask a more productive question. Specifically, why did you choose the name Flutterpriest?
Okay, so here I am in a hospital bed, trying to figure out something to like post as, and so I'm messaging one of my closer friends, one of my friends that is actually a roommate in the other room, being very quiet and very nice for me. I say I wrote this horse story and I need something to post it as, so that way people don't like take my awesome amnesia story idea. And he goes, well, what are you thinking? I go, well, maybe I should take a pony and like a band name that I like and combine them. And so I go, oh, and so he goes, what about like Twilight Death, like Twilight and Megadeth? I go, it's probably like too edgy. What about like Metalladash? Nah, that probably doesn't work. I go, what if I take Fluttershy, my favorite pony, and then Judas Priest, Flutterpriest? It kind of works. And he goes, hey, that's gold, do it. And so I did. And now it's a thing, and now I like Cadence, and now no one knows why I'm called Flutterpriest.
That's beautiful. Ridley X wants to know, how did you feel about S4E26 with the battle against T-Rex that was sort of based off of DBZ?
Oh, the T-Rex battle.
It's pronounced T-Rex, sir.
T-Rex.
I will actually, it's T-Rex.
I will T-Rex your face.
Shut up, Dave.
Shit.
You want a slot box real quick, bro? Jeez.
No, please, no. I thought it was fun. When they randomly decided to blow up like Twilight's library, I was like, there goes every fan fiction like in the world. It's just like gone in a flame in like 3 seconds.
Yeah,
it was like just as devastating as when Twilight got wings.
Yeah.
But I thought it was fun. Like, I was a big fan of DBZ back in the day, and it felt a little weird and out of place for the show, but it wasn't unwelcomed. It was fun.
That was actually their first, I think that's their only actual battle where it's not an instant KO. Because they always use the elements of harmony, and it's an instant KO.
No, in the
Changeling battle.
Season 2, yeah. The Changeling. In the Candlelock Wedding, there was a lot of like actual fighting that went on. It was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Fozzie HD wants to know, you know what? I take that back. Would you fuck a horse?
No. Not a real horse.
What about a cartoon horse?
We'll talk. If I get to Equestria, I gotta get a ticket to the Bristol Empire.
That's obviously, yes. Clearly. You have a guy who writes fucking Clodfix, he wants to fuck a cartoon horse. Pretty
I mean,
fucking
who doesn't, right? Am I right?
Well,
Okay.
You know,
There's anything
Northeast.
wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that, and if you think there is something wrong with that, you're fucking uneducated and you don't understand how it fucking works.
You should watch
you
the
How
Clop figure.
fucking horse works.
The
Sheldon?
Clop video that Sheldon made will explain it all.
You mean his one filled with inaccuracies?
Okay,
It's
King
not inaccurate, it is correct.
King Boo 365 wants to know, what do you like and not like about pony YouTubers?
Yes, tell us.
Oh, YouTubers. I guess it's
Yes, you better be nice.
So there's like a lot of different type of pony YouTubers. There's like the musicians. There's like the narrators.
Like
there's
Lost Narrator.
there's like the animators, and there's like the commenters. There's like the anthology people that do clip shows, and then there's like like Saber Spark and those sort of like what do we call them? Like commentators, analysts,
and
the analysts,
speed artists, and there's just a myriad.
So many different kinds.
Yeah.
Right now.
If I had to generalize over everyone in the fandom, I think there's some people that just take this way too seriously.
No.
Yeah, I can think of someone who does that.
No.
35 salutes of mommy and daddy.
Oh,
Well,
that was a shot that was fired.
Are
by
we
the way.
are we shooting shots here?
That was a shot. Shut up.
Shots, yo.
Those
Yeah.
are-
There's slapboxing, bro. Slapboxing.
Okay. Liquid. Were you done answering then, or?
Yeah, like
Yeah, okay.
people just take this too seriously sometimes.
They really
It's all about fun. If you aren't doing this for fun, like, why?
Exactly.
Like, guys, we're talking about My Little Fucking Pony, for Christ's
Yeah.
sake. Okay.
Hey, serious business.
Liquid Schwartz wants to know, Flutterpriest, will you read Clopfix with Sheldon on his reading channel?
Oh God.
Say no. Sheldon has a horrible reading voice.
Well,
I get drunk too. See, I get really drunk and I read them. So
you know, if you
they get views though. I mean, I
if you want
get
a special
fuckload of
guest
views on them.
sometime, you know, I'll read Anon, and if you ever do one of my Clop stories, I will happily read Anon.
Yo, what we should do is like the day you release a story, we'll get like your what's your I'm okay. I'm gonna have to read your shit first, then I'll contact you.
Well,
I
you
haven't
can
read
check
it.
out a story that I recently released called "Apple Bloom Just Wants to Learn."
Oh my god!
It's a comedy flop. It's not like super floppy. It's designed
I don't-
to be a lecture.
Man,
YouTube
the
might not
full
like that
podcast.
too much, though.
Fuck YouTube. I don't care. Suck my dick.
Okay.
Actually,
Anyways.
that one was already narrated, but I was just making a joke. So
That's all.
Mr. Fozzie HD has another question. What do you do in your free time? He.
do I just
That's- He constantly masturbates. That's what he does
That-
in his free time, everyone.
That is all I do. Just like
Yes.
my dick is so red. No, I'm a musician in addition to writing, and I jump around. I'm a drummer, and here in my city, I like to go around and play metal music with other local musicians. It's a lot of fun. Otherwise, like I do work. I try to hang out with friends on Skype. I try to hang out with friends in real life. I try to do a little of everything. The only thing I don't do is go out to bars and get plastered.
What's your favorite rudiment?
My favorite rudiment?
Yeah.
It'd probably be the double stroke roll or the paradiddle.
You're the first person or the first drummer in
Yeah.
this fandom to ever know to answer like what a rudiment is or actually knows that. So you just went up like 50 fucking points in my book.
Oh yeah, we can talk like drummers for like 2 seconds. Like my favorite drummers are Mike Richardson. I really like Between the Buried and Me and Dream Theater. I hate Travis Barker. I hate what he's done. I hate that he makes people have
Fuck
flat
that guy.
cymbals and people break cymbals all the time. Okay, I'm done now. Don't make me talk about drums. Let's move to something else.
Okay.
Have you thought about making horse music with your drumming or anything like that? Or are you just like keeping the horses separate from that?
I've thought about it. Two
Do
problems.
covers, man. They're fun.
I really like some of the stuff that Prince whatever does. He
Oh,
does
yeah.
like a metal stuff. There's other metal brony people out there. Like there's I forget the names, but there's one that does like symphonic metal, and it's really awesome.
Is it Bonafide, or is it someone
Yeah,
else?
Bronified.
Yeah.
And I would love to meet them and talk about music. And if I had the correct drumming equipment to drum for them, I would do it because that would be awesome. But I just don't have the money to go out and drop $1,000 on drum mics. If you want to get money for my mics, you can go check out my Patreon. No, but no.
You play DW kick, right? Kick pedals.
I have Iron Cobras, but
You fucking faggot! Holy shit! Get out of my
Whoa,
podcast.
whoa, hey, whoa.
Hey,
sorry.
my drum set is a set of DWs. Okay, is that?
Oh,
does that
nice.
give- okay, yeah.
No, DWs. DW drums are shit. Fuck that.
Oh.
Yeah, they're way better. They're way worse than the IDXs.
Okay, Starforge wants to know. Flutterpriest.
That was perfect. That was perfect, by the way.
Ponies and
Good job.
stuff.
Okay, Starforge wants to know, Flutterpriest, should I even bother starting to write fanfic if I've never done it before?
Yes. Every day of the week. If you want to write a story and you think you'll have fun doing it, do it. Because it'll be fun, and yeah, maybe you'll mess up and you'll make little mistakes along the way, or someone won't like it. But at the end of the day, if you like your stories and you like what you're doing, write and do it and enjoy it and screw everyone else. It's not about your follower count. It's not about the amount of views you get. It's not how quote unquote horse famous you get. It's about writing, and it's about doing something that you love doing, and fuck everyone else.
Yeah, fuck them right now.
Well, make sure you use a condom if you do that. There's a lot of traps going around.
It was beautiful, and you guys just ruined it. You bastards.
Crabs has a way of doing that. It ruins a lot of things.
Okay, Ridley, that was beautiful. Ridley X wants to know, if MLPFIM were to be canceled one day, would you still write more AIE stories?
Oh, that is a good question. I've decided I'm not going to stop writing until every like pony stuff, until all of like my multi-parts and my stuff is like done. Like if I have a story that's hanging out there and the show's canceled and it's unfinished, I'm going to finish the story. I'm not going to try to like just drop something off without any closure. I know sometimes it takes a long time for me to update stuff, but I don't like leaving a book unfinished. Wow, I actually guess that kind of works for writing here. That was supposed to be a metaphor, and now it's actually a thing. But I probably in the long term wouldn't. I have some ideas for like real stories and like real. Well, not that fan fiction isn't real writing, but like non-pony work, like actual human work that I love to write and edit and like get really good critique on. Actually try sending it to like real editors and like content managers, like literary magazines or fiction quarterlies or something like that, just to try and see like, you know, hey, I developed these skills here, this is something I love to do, why not try and share it on an even larger scale.
Like fanfiction.net.
So no, I don't see myself writing fan fiction forever, but I don't see myself stopping writing as soon as like the ride ends.
The ride never
Right,
ends.
never ends.
I believe Loopmaster did a great song about that. Okay, Art Attack. All right, Art Attack asks, this is a very important question. I want you to think about it.
Okay.
Hoofs. Okay, ready? Hoofs or no hoofs?
Oh
Shit
goodness.
just got real.
One sends you to jail.
Fuck.
Just saying.
Neither one sends you to jail. Thank you.
This is like the hardest question I've had to answer all day. I will go with hooves.
Oh,
Nice
You're
answer.
going to jail.
I approve.
Your colon's going to be punctured by a horse cock. So.
Okay, we got one more question from Ridley X. He wants to know, how would you feel if Hasbro released an MLP action/RPG game for systems one day?
I think that'd be really cool. I love playing video games. I think a lot of these like show to video game tie-ins usually are pretty bad. But I mean, if they got a good enough like game developer to really get on it, and they're like, "Hey, we have these brony things. Go make a God of War clone." It might. It could be fun.
A God of War clone is your idea. Okay.
I don't think they'll let them do that, but there probably will be a pony game for Xbox One on the marketplace or something like that. It's gonna be shit, and it's gonna be microcharged, and
it will be one of those like Spyro the Dragon, where you just wander around, collect things, and talk to this thing, and wander around and collect, and everyone will be like, "Oh, this game is total shit." And it'll be
don't shit on Spyro, all right?
Well, no,
that's
no.
Mecca.
True. Well, I meant more visual than like actual gameplay wise. But the point is, you just walk around, collect things, talk to this person, collect that, have a giant laser fight with T-Rex, and then go back to normal.
Yeah, it's a collectathon.
I played that Gameloft game for a really long time. That was kind of fun until like I got hit by a paywall where I just like couldn't keep going unless I paid money. I was like, oh well, this game sucks now.
Did you hear they released that on Amazon? I guess for free. Everything's unlocked.
Yeah, but I gotta restart.
How do you get it on Amazon?
I don't know. There's an app store on Amazon.
Like,
Amazon Underground or Amazon Unleashed. I forget what it's called. I think if
how
you
do you
Google
get that on your phone? You can't get that on Windows unless your iPhone, unless your iPhone's jailbroken. Then I would assume, right?
Oh, I don't know. This is for Android.
Yeah, then that's why. Yeah, it's probably a hacked version of the game.
No, it's official.
Yeah. It's official?
Yeah, it's official. They released it through Amazon to promote their Amazon's App Store. Amazon's subsidizing it.
Wow.
They're doing it with a few other games, I think. Cool. Yeah. We don't have any more audience questions, so and we already know the answer to the question I usually ask, so I'm out.
Are we at the time or?
Yeah. I mean, we can end now.
We're 7 over.
I can tell you, I'd like to let everyone listening know that tomorrow night we have a very special show over on our sister.
Oh yeah, EQC.
Yeah, on the Equestria Confidential podcast, we will be interviewing a special guest, M.A. Larson.
Who?
He is a...
Wow.
Sounds like a faggot to me.
Yes, he's a faggot, so...
Could you do me a favor when you do that?
What's that?
Tell him thanks.
Were you the one who walked up to him? Someone... I'm going to ask him how many people did that. Someone was telling me the other day that when they saw M.A. Larson, they just walked up to him, shook his hand, and said thank you, and walked away. They literally thanked M.A. Larson. Literally thanked him.
Thank you for the drama of giving Twilight wings. It was so delicious.
Well, that wasn't him.
He takes credit for it.
Of course, yeah.
Oh, of course.
I guess we'll wrap it up here then.
All right.
Alrighty. So, Flutterpriest, where can we find you on the internet? Social media is what I'm concerned about. Obviously, if you guys go to fanfiction.net, Flutterpriest, you can just search that name, all one word, Flutterpriest. You'll find his content also on 4chan on FlutterRape threads.
I've got his fanfiction linked in the description as well.
Yeah, that is in the description as well. Are you on Twitter? Are you on Tumblr?
I am on the Twitter. I am the little @ Flutterpriest.
Okay.
And then I do have like a Tumblr, and I've got all kinds of dumb stuff. But pretty much I just use Twitter and post dumb things.
And if you want to stalk him, you can find him in all those places in the description of this video.
Please stalk me. I'm friendly.
Also, go to his Patreon and give him all your money because he's cool and he deserves it. And don't bitch and don't complain about him starting a fucking Patreon. If you have a fucking problem with that, you can suck my fucking dick.
Disclaimer, you may be hacked by anonymous Chinese hackers.
My non-existent Patreon.
But anyways, who do we have on next week, Corp?
I looked it up. Next week we have Derpy Twizzle on. He is a very old school brony. Like he's like the Burning Donut. He's from the 80s, but he was pretty active back in 2011, 2012. I don't think he's as active now. And with him, joining him will be Rabies Bun, and Rabies will probably just sit there silently for most of the time. Yeah. But,
Oh,
yeah.
I know. I think I recognize Rabies. Rabies is pretty cool.
He also makes PMVs and stuff for Anthology and other stuff too.
Yeah.
So you guys can look forward to more anthology fun next week, Friday, 10:30 p.m. And as always, don't drink and drive. It's Friday night. Not that you fuckers go out and drink because you're fucking bronies and you're on the internet on a Friday night at fucking, what time is it, guys? 10:41 p.m. Whatever.
It's almost midnight.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, guys, and we will see